What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing a Chicago Bears 7-round 2025 NFL mock draft. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Below my face is my board. It is continuously updating. It is completely transparent. It is not predictive. The players who I love the most, I'm going to be giving the most credit to. That does not mean I think they're going to be going in that range. So, if you guys do want to see why I think about these players the way they do, I have videos that are out on the majority of them. I'm going to be dropping a wide receiver video that's a top 32 this Saturday, so hopefully you guys do enjoy that as well. Super excited for it. Let's get into this. Again, feel free to go follow me on X. I end up posting all 22 clips to support my conclusions there. Let's get into this. We're going to be doing another one of these post-free agency, and of course, we're going to bring on Rashab of the Windy City Productions. Love him to death, and so we're going to be getting that in. But we're going to be referencing our lads for the depth chart in this, and we're going to be making some really good moves. I'm super excited for that. All right, let's see who falls. And Abdul Carter falls to PFF. Come on. But you know what? At least we didn't end up having Abdul Carter slip to 10. That would be a little bit ridiculous. And so we are poised with a very intriguing situation off the bat. And I think before we end up going into selecting who we want to go after, it's key to know where we need to be looking at, right? So taking a quick peek at the depth chart, we do need a slot receiver. Yeah, we can end up re-signing some dudes who are for depth, but I just don't really know if Keenan Allen's going to be the long-term option, right? And so I think that was the whole entire plan, let Keenan Allen kind of be more of a bridge guy for like Roma Dunze to get that mentorship, along with DJ Moore to provide that mentorship as well. On top of that, though, we need some interior offensive line help. But on top of that as well, we could even go after that tackle spot. Karan Amagaji, I do think, should be shifted to the interior. He's still growing and developing, and it's going to be, the NFL doesn't love, or the NFL, I guess the defenses love players that need a lot of development if they're thrust into action. Braxton Jones has not been reliable enough. So I do think that there is absolutely the need for offensive tackle for this team specifically. So we're going to be addressing that for sure. Again, the interior of the offensive line, 100%. But I do think as well, when you end up looking, I'm forgetting all the connections that exactly lead Trey Smith to the Bears, but I'm pretty sure his girlfriend works in the city as well. For this episode, let's assume that Trey Smith's going to be the option. You guys have the money. You guys will probably be doing it. So I assume that's going to be a move, and Karan could play the other guard spot or even center if you need him to. So I do think that maybe one interior offensive lineman, maybe some extra depth, and then we can also look at that tackle spot. Tight end wise, Gerald Everett was just cut. So maybe we could look at some depth guys there. Quarterback wise, I'm pretty chill with what we have. Running back wise, I do think there's going to be an upgrade with Ben Johnson. He does like to focus on that, and maybe a deep threat as well if we want to get it. Tyler Scott could be that for sure, but we do know that deep threat as a number one weapon, essentially, or number two for Ben Johnson is super duper key. But running back, I could absolutely see a much heavier workload going to Ashton Jeanty, which will bring us into that equation very soon. But edge rusher as well, we do need an edge number two, potentially an edge number one, depending on what you think of Montez Sweat, but I still have a lot of faith in him as a legit edge one. Of course, I don't give cookies to this site, so they're going to have some random ass ads. Just keep your eyes open for that, for maybe entertainment reasons. But I also think that a safety as well to be the successor of Kevin Byard will be the key. So it pretty much also defensive interior right here. So DI, edge, safety, interior offensive line, tackle, slot, running back. So that's going to be the focus of our approach today. And so when you look at Ben Johnson, I think the biggest key is to look at Ashton Jeanty here, because he has a very strong identity through the run game. Your response would be, hey, he also had a fully set up offensive line. I totally agree. And if Josh Simmons' medicals completely check out, like this dude is clean as a whistle, it would make sense, right? You can end up having him as a guard in the short run until some injuries pop up, can end up having him finally be that left tackle for the long run. But I'm also going to try to big brain it. I see Arianti Ursary here. You can talk about Donovan Jackson as well. I've just taken Jackson for several teams. So I think that, there's a certain point where I'm like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. So I'm going to try to big brain it right there. Again, running back, I could try to wait and, maybe we get lucky with, one of these running backs slipping to 72, right? There absolutely could be that chance, and it'd be really fun. But I also do think that you could envision edge here with James Pierce. Heard that he has some coachability issues. I'm not going to put too much stock in it given how much he's developed over the past year. So bottom line, it's between Genty as well as Josh Simmons at this pick for me. And you can go right either way. I will say, with Trey Smith probably going to be brought in, that solves one of the issues. We have 3, right? We got to still look at that left tackle, even though it's kind of like a half issue at the moment. So let's just say 2.5. But center, not worth it at this point. Guard, not worth it at this point, unless you're going to have him be that tackle. I think the biggest way to take the pressure off of Caleb Williams is to put it on Ashton Genty's back. And then you have Swift to be that number 2 guy behind him. And so Ashton Genty is going to be my selection at pick 10. I think people will look and kind of scout, not just the helmet, but scout the position rather than the player. Because you're saying like, oh, well, running back at 10. That's the thing. Like, oh, running back at 10, that's not valuable enough. But you got to look at what running back you're getting at 10. Would you say Saquon Barkley is the top 10 pick? Worth the top 10 pick? Most people will say, yeah. I mean, like, hell yeah, he is. Like, this guy's incredible, right? See? Not saying he's that. But is he of the talent level of a Leonard Fournette coming out? Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs? I think he is easily in that group, right? At least he's in that group. And all those guys were supposed to go top 10 or did. Jahmyr Gibbs almost went at 6 overall. So it is disingenuous to say like, oh, he's a running back, shouldn't go at 10. But regardless, we're here at pick number 39. We got Tyleik Williams available. I'm extremely intrigued about that. Let's look at the tackles who are available. And of course, Ursary and Jackson are still here. I might try to big brain it and then see if we can take Tyleik here and then, like kind of big brain the edge rushing position later on, because like Ezra Raku honestly would be a good DT replacement. I love him. To be fair, I love Taylor to death. I think Darrell Taylor should be brought back as like a rotational edge rusher. But Donovan Ezraku is a dark horse pick at this spot. JT Tuimoloau is awesome. But I mean, I'm looking at 72 and who's going to be there. To be fair, the edge rushers fall off a cliff. I mean, I do have guys like Antoine Powell-Ryland and Braden Swinson that I could also take at that 72 spot that I think would be an excellent option for this team. And so I'm going to try probably big brain it right there. I think the best way we can have a good return on investment for this team is to address offensive line as well as defensive interior here, because I do have my vision at 72 for that edge rusher. So looking at what we can do, I think Tyleik Williams is great. By the way, so many slot receivers that are marked down in this board. So I do trust that we can end up replacing Keenan Allen pretty easily. So we're going to go after Tyleik Williams here because I think he's fantastic. I mean, Tyleik Williams is an incredible defensive interior. And, the thing is, he has a 7% pass rush win rate. But when he wins ridiculously well, which to me shows that he's just not applying it consistently. And looking at the history of interior defensive linemen out of Ohio State, none of them came into the league, maybe except Mike Hall, with the polish as a pass rusher. And even Mike Hall, he polished up over the offseason through the Senior Bowl, and he's going to be an excellent asset in the NFL. But Tyleik Williams paired up with Gervin Dexter. Sign me up all day. Jack Bech goes at 40, which funnily enough, spoiler alert if you guys didn't see it, was my pick for the Saints at 40. And I was already telegraphing my move here. Feel free to go Donovan Jackson or Ozzie Trapilo here. I mean, Ozzie's a right tackle, but he took left tackle reps in the Senior Bowl. I'm not going to complain if you think like as highly of him as I do. But Donovan Jackson, I love him to death. I've taken him so many times. Feel free to. I just want to keep things a little bit fresh, and so I'm going to go after a different tackle that I believe in arguably as much as Donovan Jackson. And with Ursary, I also think he can use a little bit of time on the interior as he continues polishing up. But his high-level reps are insane. And I know tackle is a game of consistency, but none of the tackles are completely consistent in this class, right? You're going to have some hiccups here and there. Ursary has the ceiling that not many of these guys do. And I'm not a big ceiling tackle kind of guy. I personally could care less because I care about consistency. And even I have a lot of faith in Ursary. So I'm going to take him here. Also, Minnesota, kind of used to that climate. Same thing with Ohio State there. But again, the beauty of this mock draft is another team that would want to take Jackson would take Ursary. So feel free again, looking at what we've done here, we've addressed that left tackle and left guard spot in the short run with Ursary. We got our defensive interior and we got Ashton Genty. Here at 72, we're going to go pass rusher. You can easily go Josiah Stewart, who had a 40% true pass rush win rate. I will not blame you. But Dennis Allen kind of does like a little bit more size than 6'1", 240 to 245. So I'd be looking a little bit more. I mean, Femi Oladejo is a dream for Dennis Allen, but I'm looking at Antoine Powell-Ryland here, who's above 250 pounds. He's a really good edge rusher. And honestly, we might snipe him if he slips to a 148. I don't think that's off the table. But Braden Swinson is the guy to me. He might be 250, but he is a strong edge defender. And you look at Isaiah Foskey. Isaiah Foskey was like 6'6", 250 or 260. So like 6'4", 250, talking about density. I mean, you can make the same claim about 6'1", 245, 240. But with Braden Swinson, he plays so much bigger than what his size suggests. I would not be surprised to see him in that 260-pound range. But Braden Swinson has, I believe, a 33.9% true pass rush win rate, just barely behind Abdul Carter. And this guy, I don't understand why Trev is so low on him. I highly doubt he escapes day 2. Every single person that says, hey, I'm digging into Braden Swinson, I love him. I don't get why he's not being talked about more as a legitimate potential round 1 option late. Maybe round 2, but I just still haven't heard it. I think he deserves to be a round 2 option. We're going to take full advantage of him not, though. So we're going to go Braden Swinson here. You see him, he's my number 6 overall player in the class. I mean, I just dropped him actually a point because he's technically my number 4 guy in the class, but I dropped him a point because he didn't end up going to the Shrine Bowl, which pissed me off because I wanted to see him in person. But I digress. 148, again, quick recap. We've addressed kind of the biggest positions that we need to, right? Those are the big glaring needs. And again, we got some center issues as well. I do like players down the board like Jackson Slater, who can end up kind of being that rotational guy in there. Of course, free agency exists. We're going to be doing it after for that reason as well. I know there's going to be a heavy focus on that position. Now, at this point, could we go after a rangy free safety? I wish we ended up, how far back did he go with, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, Zy Alexander. Honestly, to the Eagles as a developmental safety prospect, not a bad idea. I was going to try to big brain it right there because that would have been fun to let him grow for a year in a position he's uncomfortable. Hello. I haven't spoiled it. I'm not going to spoil where Kyle Williams is at, but let's just say he's a lot higher than this. If I'm not mistaken, he is 5'11". I don't think he reached 6 foot, but this dude is unbelievable, explosive, and after the catch guru. This guy's built. I know that I could totally be like an absolute big brain and go Jimmy Horn later on, and it's a smart move. I think it's unfair to Jimmy Horn for him not to go in this range because Jimmy Horn also should be in this equation. I think Jimmy Horn is as good as Kyle Williams, but for different reasons. They're completely different. Kyle Williams after the catch is just ridiculous. I mean, this dude, I think, had, was it 20 missed tackles forced on 70 touches? Just saying, this guy is really good. We're going to go Kyle Williams for that slot role right there. Unbelievable talent. At 196, we're back. And so let's take another quick look at our depth chart. Again, I wanted to go free safety, and there are going to be some guys that we can end up getting. I don't know what the hell a Stello is. Of course, this is the problem when you don't allow cookies. Otherwise, you guys would be getting some entertaining, like, random, like, vacuum cleaners popping up here, because your boy's been lurking for some vacuums. But we've addressed that edge, defensive interior, linebacker. You could go after some depth here. Like, I don't think it's as big of an issue because we got an RFA here in Jack Sanborn. But we also could go after some depth corner. I mean, the more I look at it, the more I realize that, like, we could try to focus if there is a good corner here. Ooh, hold up. So I like Jason Marshall almost as a safety. Mac McWilliams is awesome. I haven't taken him for very many teams, and come to think of it, like, I want to take a quick peek at the top. I for some reason, I'm forgetting the draft order. Is there any team that I would be taking Mac McWilliams for down the board? Maybe I would end up taking him for, no, not even for the Dolphins. I haven't taken Mac McWilliams in a hot second. This guy's one of the smartest guys who's both on the boundary as well as someone who I could even see as a deep safety if need be. Super smart corner out of UCF, but he's also sticky in coverage. I'm going to let the Bears be blessed with my number 41 player in the class, and arguably I feel like I'm a little too low on him. So we're going to go with that right there. Mac McWilliams, corner / defensive back out of UCF. Malachi Moore might be that safety as well that we can end up bringing in, who's more of a pure safety. He's just slipping because of maybe some big issues with, like, age, injury. Like, I don't think it's that big of an issue. That's just my take, but I've heard some people try to complain about the health and inconsistency over the years. I personally am looking at these snap counts, and I don't think that within the past couple years, he's been that unreliable. So just going to put that out there. But when he does fail, he fails very, very big. But honestly, I haven't taken Malachi Moore in a hot second either. I think he's a great fit for this team. So we're going to go Malachi Moore here at 234. And that leaves us at 241. So looking at the players available, we could go Clay Webb because he has center experience, and he's slipping because of some personality concerns. He's at Jacksonville State, if I'm not mistaken, because of some off-the-field issues at Georgia. Not going to lie, might not care that much if you could end up getting a talent like Clay Webb here. Holland Pierce is such a good developmental tackle. I don't know why he's this low. He'll go early day 3, like that round 4 territory. Trying to see if there's like Drew Kendall. Worst case scenario might not be a bad choice here. Marcus Ware's a fun one out of Montana State. But I'm actually going to go Clay Webb because he has experience at center, and that's going to be great value. Again, slipping more so for the personality concerns. But if Josh Ball can go and get drafted after being an absolute horrible human being, I'm just going to say Clay Webb should be at least in the equation. So that's going to be the mock draft. For a quick review, we end up fixing up the defensive line here with Tyleik Williams and Braden Swinson to the rescue. You guys ended up getting a lot of my guys in this episode. We fixed the offensive line with Ursery as well as Webb, but also if you listen to the start of the video, might kick Karan Amagaji to inside, but on top of that, Ursery could be, and Trey Smith is going to be projected to this team because his girlfriend literally works in Chicago. Running back wise, you got Ashton Genty, and then you also got Kyle Williams for an insane after the catch weapon to be in that slot. Then you look at defensive back, you got a boundary corner / safety in Mac McWilliams, but also a really good rangy safety there in Malachi Moore. Arguably my favorite mock draft I've done. It's not going to please many people because names like Kyle Williams, Braden Swinson, Mac McWilliams, they're not going to be super exciting for people who haven't watched them in all 22, nor probably should you have. But if you follow me over on X, I'll be able to, you'll end up seeing my propaganda and end up seeing the picks I end up putting out there, or the videos I end up putting out there. And maybe I'll give you a little bit more insight. Maybe you'll fall in love with them too. So hopefully you enjoy. Love you. See you on the far side. Peace.